Hey everyone, my name is Ronak back with another video, and this is ninth video in the playlist of statistics for CS applications. And in this video we are going to cover confidence interval construction using the Z statistic. So let's get started. In the last video, which was a pretty much important video I would say, where I was covering the literal meaning of the statistical inference along with that interval estimation. So that is one of the most important videos, and I would say that it is kind of prerequisite for this one because I am not going to get much more into the interval estimation at this moment. I'm just going to start with the confidence interval construction. If you know the interval estimation, it is good for you. If you don't know, if you have missed out on my video in my last session, what you can do is you can just go down in the description link, like there is a link in the description box below. You can just click on it and you can have the entire playlist, and then you can just check the video. This is the 9th video, that is going to be the 8th one. This confidence interval construction will be done whenever population mean is known. So there are some of the constraints that are being imposed on the confidence interval construction, and we are going to cover all of those, and I'll also try to cover one of the examples. This video might be a little bit lengthy, but from now onwards I think that you might be able to get a grip over all the concepts, and it will be pretty much faster, I would say. We are going to put into practice the concept that we have learned earlier. So what we have learned earlier, concepts used will be standard error and margin of error. So these are the two concepts that I have covered in the previous videos. If, like I said, if I have missed on those one, it is going to be pretty much difficult for you to grasp this one. What you can do is just go in the description box, click on the link. There is the link for the entire playlist. You can just have it. So this is the margin of error that we have covered in the last video. So x, the sample x mean minus the margin of the error is always less than the mu, that is my population mean, which is also less than x bar plus margin of error. So this is the formula. Now let us break the formula into distinct pieces, because last time what I covered was pretty much theoretical, and now I want to give you the practical aspect and putting everything into practice what we have learned till now. So this one is going to be pretty much good. So margin of error is basically absolute value of the critical value into standard deviation. So critical value I'll be covering right away, but let me tell you what is absolute value. Absolute value is basically if you have a negative value, it will be converted to the positive value. We just consider the positive values associated with the value. We don't consider the negative aspect of it. So basically the absolute value of the critical value into the standard error. Standard error I have covered, but now we are going to dig into the formula of it. Critical value is represented by z subscript alpha by 2. So this is one of the conventional manners. I'll just come to what is z in this one, but just keep that in mind that the critical value is given by z to the subscript alpha by 2. And alpha by 2 also I'll be covering, don't worry. Then we have the standard error, which is just the standard deviation divided by under root n. N is the number of samples, sigma is the standard deviation. So this is the standard error formula for confidence interval using the Z statistic, and whenever you put it into the formula, basically the margin of error, this is how it looks. So we have the critical value, absolute value of the critical value into the standard error. That is the margin of error, that is the formula of the margin of error. Now let us move on to the Z statistics. So Z statistic or Z test or Z score, there are many names given to it. Let us now see what is Z statistic. So this is Z statistic. So Z is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma divided by under root n. So that is the formula, and this is pretty much the formula of the standard normal distribution. So here the standard normal distribution is also given, where the mean and the standard deviation is 0 and 1. So those are the parameters of the standard normal distribution. So this gives us the critical value range. This is going to give you the critical value range with respect to alpha, and Z has n 0 and 1 distribution, which gives 1 minus alpha. So what is this 1 minus alpha? This 1 minus alpha is basically the critical region. And this critical region does play a very, very, I would say, important role whenever it comes to the evaluation. You'll just come to know. And this is the graph. This is how it looks. So I got this from a source. I was just searching for some critical value diagrams for a better visualization. So there is this non-rejection region. So if you see where my critical value resides, so just forget the H naught, okay, that is associated with the hypothesis testing that I'll be covering in the future videos. But just keep this in mind that this is a normal distribution, okay, and in that 1 minus alpha indicates non-rejection region, okay. So whatever values, considering our confidence interval, whatever values are going to fall between that range, okay, so 1 minus alpha are basically going to be valid, okay, they are not going to get rejected. Like I said, if I calculate the mean and I find the two intervals, the lower limit and the upper limit, so that is it, okay. So 1 minus alpha ranges between lower limit to the upper limit, and anything beyond that is going to get rejected, okay. So that is basically alpha by 2 that we saw, okay. So z subscript alpha by 2, that is the critical value. Now quick table for some common critical values with the alpha given, okay. So actually in the next video I'll be showing you how you can use the table to your advantage, okay, to find the critical value. But in this one I would say this one is pretty much associated where the standard deviation is known, okay. So the confidence interval using the z statistic or z score or z test score, whatever you may call it, is associated deeply with the standard procedure where you have the standard deviation to be known, okay. Your variance is also known, then your standard deviation is also known, okay. So whenever the cases of the unknown standard deviation we are going to look at in the next tutorial, but for now just keep this in mind that if your standard deviation, like if you have the standard deviation is known to you, the population standard deviation to be specific, so population standard deviation needs to be known. Apart from that, you need to have the values which are greater than 30. So those are the two rules that you have to consider, and then you can find the confidence interval using the z statistic. And this is a table where we set the confidence level, okay. So confidence level is basically the 1 minus alpha, the one you see over here. So 1 minus alpha. So this graph basically, if you have seen my earlier tutorials where I have covered the empirical distribution, you might have come to know that how we cut off the tail, okay. So this tail and everything I am going to cover in depth in the hypothesis testing, not at the moment I would say, but just keep this in mind that the 1 minus alpha is the non-rejection region and rejection region has alpha by 2. If it is only one tail, two tail, okay, let us also keep that aside. But this is the confidence level. So confidence level is basically the confidence interval level that I'll be suggesting for my test. So there are these 4 values that are used frequently, so I just took these values, and you have to just keep these values in the mind whenever you are calculating, okay. You don't have to use the z statistic or the literal z statistic score, you don't have to use that. What you can do is just take these critical values, okay, that I have. So critical values basically when I am escaping the critical region, okay, so it gets into the area of the non-rejection, okay, that is the thing. And alpha is the significance value that we will be looking in the near future. But just keep this in mind that the confidence level for the 80%, the derived coefficient is 0.8 and the level of the significance is 0.2. So basically that 0.2 is the tail region that we are going to consider, the alpha by 2. Okay, so basically if you have 0.2, the alpha by 2 is going to be 0.1 on the both the sides. Alright, similarly we have for the 90% confidence, 95, 99. Mostly we will be working with the cases where there is 95, 99% confidence level, okay. And apart from that you can have this. So the critical values that I get are the following that you can see over here, and 1.96 is definitely going to be for the 95% confidence level, and 2.58 is going to be for 99% confidence level. So these are the standard confidence, I'm sorry, not confidence, standard critical values that are being assigned to this confidence interval testing, okay, basically construction of it. So now let us take an example for the better intuition so that it is going to be easy for you to digest. So sample of 11 circuits from a large normal population has a mean resistance of 2.20 ohms. The standard deviation is 0.35 ohms. Determine 95% confidence interval for the true mean resistance of the population. So we are actually going to solve this problem, and the source is basically this book, okay, so Research Methodology by C.R. Kothari, and from the chapter 9 I am covering this. So sampling and statistical inference, example 9.1. So that is the example that I have taken from this book. Book is extremely good, okay, and I would suggest that if you are if you are a beginner who is looking forward to get into the area of the research, this book is going to be perfect for you, okay. So this book basically covers a lot of research aspects, I would say, and along with that a lot of statistics, okay. So statistics basics are basically covered in this book entirely. So I would say that whatever you require for the research process, all that is basically covered in this book. So this book is definitely good one, I would say. So coming back to our problem, so this is the problem, okay. So I have 11 sample of circuit, that is my n is 11. Apart from that, I have the mean resistance of the population. Okay, so this is the population mean, the mu. Okay, so 2.20 ohms, that is the value, and I have the standard deviation, that is 0.35 ohms. So this standard deviation is basically the population standard deviation. I have failed to write it, but keep that in mind. Okay, so the standard deviation is 0.35 ohms. So yeah, this is the confidence interval for the z statistic. So we are going to use the z score to solve this one and determine 95% confidence interval for the true mean resistance of the population. So that is the thing. So as you remember, for the 95% z, not z, I would say for 95% confidence interval, we have 1.96 critical value. Now we are going to put that into practice. So this is the formula for my confidence interval. Okay, so like I said, x bar minus the margin of error. Margin of error has the absolute value of the critical value into standard error, and similarly I add it on the other hand. So that is the formula, and whenever I am replacing the values, so 2.20 ohms minus 1.96. 1.96 is basically the critical value that I am getting, into 0.35. 0.35 is basically my standard deviation, divided by under root n, which is the number of my samples. So that is going to give me my result. So this gives me 2.20 minus 0.2068 less than 2.20. So that is going to fall between that range. Okay, so 2.20 plus 0.2068. Okay, so basically 0.2068 is my margin of error. So plus minus 0.2068. I am going to use it with the mu in order to find my confidence interval level. And yeah, this is it. I get my confidence interval. So my confidence interval basically lies between 1.9932 to 2.4068. So yeah, it basically states that determine 95% confidence interval for the true mean resistance of the population. So this is the true mean resistance population. So anything below 1.9932 is definitely going to get rejected, and anything above 2.4068 is going to get rejected. So that is my confidence interval for 95% accuracy. So yeah, this is it. I hope you might have understood something or the other from this tutorial. If you haven't, you can just put comments below. I'll try to answer them as I can. Okay, and if you like my content, please do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon, so that whenever I'm posting anything new, you will just get notified and you don't have to search anything. Okay, if you want to. Yeah, and I think I should be winding up right now. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.